Real quick before we jump into the video, guys, for the rest of this year I'm going to be on a fundraising campaign to raise a minimum of £1,000 for the Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital. For more information on the charity and what it does, and for the donation links, please look in the description below. And thank you all for your continued support. Enjoy the show. What's going on, guys? Rabbit Teacher announced, and we are back with the RBL. It's playoff time, baby. It's quarterfinal time, and your Royal Bomber for Bombies are taking on the LA Bakers and Coach Cooking Papa, also known as the LA Lakers and Coach Matt Flame, but that name's way more boring, so I figured it's time for a rebrand for playoffs. Just kidding. But either way, though, we've got an interesting matchup here. So basically, it's do or die. The winner of this match plays Ryakustic in the semifinals. Loser of this match is the season over. And of course, Matt, we would have played in week 2 had I started the season, but unfortunately, I did not start the season, so my predecessor, Don, played this match. So, I haven't really played Matt. I don't really know too much about what to expect from him. That being said, though, I think I actually have a fairly good matchup here. I don't think he has the best options against my team, and some of his duos are actually not good into my team, so it does kind of make it interesting. So, upon inspection of his match, Cinderace is his G-Max of choice. Very, very scary, especially that G-Max Fireball at 160 base power is pretty damn destructive. Does a hell of a lot of damage to things that don't resist it. So, gotta watch out for that thing. It is, of course, fast as well. We do have our own Cinderace as well, so fairly solid mon, very good physical offensive threats. Definitely something I have to watch out for. If I let this thing get set up, we could be in some trouble. Tapu Lele is very, very scary offensively on the special side. Can be Scarf, can be Specs, can be Citrus Berry, Bulky, whichever. Honestly though, I feel like he needs to bring a Scarfmon against my team. And I feel like this is probably his best bet for a Scarfmon here. It does hit things like my Weavile really hard, hits things like Colossal. If it hits the Focus Blast, he probably has to max it to guarantee the hit, to be honest. But yeah, it does get a few little things. It gets Thunderbolt and stuff like that. Gets Energy Ball as well to try and hit a lot of other members of my team. It's pretty scary. Definitely something to watch out for, but I think it's more than manageable. Rhyperior, of course, very, very slow, very physically bulky. Hits like a truck, though, if it's allowed to max. Something I definitely need to watch out for. Obviously, it does have 2 quad weaknesses, but it does also have Solid Rock. Although he's had a tendency to run Lightning Rod on Rhyperior, I've noticed a few times. So I'll be interested to see if he actually just runs Solid Rock instead. I think Solid Rock is a way better ability. Lightning Rod has a few situations where it could be good. It can definitely try to shut down things like my Zeraora, for example. But it's not the best matchup, and if he is not Solid Rock, he takes a hell of a lot of damage from things like Colossal Earth Power and stuff like that, so definitely something to bear in mind. Raikou is pretty fast, not as fast as Cinderace, however. I actually thought it was faster, but it's not. It does get Aura Sphere naturally now, so it's not just event only, which does hit things like my Regigigas, which is definitely a problem. A pretty good specially offensive threat. Not the best in VGC, from what I've understood. I've tried doing a bit of digging on like historical Raikou sets, and there's not really that much. There's mostly like Carmine single sets. So I'll be interested to see if Raikou does come, what he brings. Oregon 2, of course, very bulky mon. A potential Trick Room setter, which can enable Rhyperior. Definitely something to bear in mind. Things like Tri-Attack, spreading hacks around could definitely suck. Does get Ice Beam as well. I believe it gets Focus Blast. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think he'd ever run that. It also gets Ally Switch, if I remember right, so I need to watch out for that too. Politoed, of course, a Rain Setter, half of his Rain Duo. Actually can be pretty scary if it's like Specs offensive, but I feel like he may need to reserve the Specs for Lele. But he should probably Scarf the Lele, honestly. But Politoed does hit pretty hard in Rain, of course, with that Drizzle. I can just run like Damp Rock on it and give Rain for 8 turns, which could mitigate like Colossal, for example. He's faced a Colossal before because, of course, Rhykustic has the G-Max Colossal, so it's not like he's a stranger to it. It will hit pretty hard if it's allowed to get set up, but I do have plenty of Electric-type coverage on my team. Plenty of Grass-type moves as well, so I feel like Politoed is not the best matchup here. Rotom, pretty decent mon. Very good offensively. Kind of frail, though, in certain matchups. Obviously, I have a lot of coverage for Rotom on this team, so pretty scary, of course. Would have to be Scarf potentially to be extremely good. Could be a nasty plot set as well with like leftovers or berry. That's a possibility. Berserker, very physically bulky steel, actually hits very hard. It's got a pretty good attack stat as well. Lacking speed, however, and also not particularly bulky on the special side. So if anything, he probably assault vests this mon if he brings it. But even with assault vest, like Colossal when it's maxed just rips through it, and various things like that. It just does too much damage, and I don't think Berserker really can sit in against a lot of this team. Arctivish, of course, is the other half of the rain duo, gets Water Absorb, gets Slush Rush as well. Slush Rush is for Hail, of course, pretty unfortunate. But Water Absorb can be paired up nicely with Politoed. He has actually used Surf Politoed quite a few times to like heal up the Arctivish. But Arctivish dies to a close combat from a Shifu, even if it's not banded, so pretty risky to bring it. Is kind of got checked by quite a few mons on my team, like Pharathon, for example. And it just sits in on it and doesn't really care. Morpeko, kind of an underrated one, in my opinion. Definitely surprising to see it down in the low tier. But Morpeko, very decently fast. It's base 97 speed, which actually speed ties my Urshifu. So that's something to bear in mind. Aura Will, of course, giving you a speed boost can be pretty scary. Typically, Life Orb offensive could be banded as well. Definitely pretty scary. But he does have to play around the Aura Will typing, because it does switch between its modes, of course. And there is also a small matter of the fact that it's outsped and semi-walled by Zeraora. So, and of course, like Zeraora just hits back with a close combat and says, "What are you doing, Morpeko? What are you doing here, you stupid little rat?" And then, of course, there's Metang. Not really a good mono, honestly. Yes, it's a steel psychic type. Could be a potential policy set, but there's not really many good Brutal Swingers on this team. There's only Berserker and Rhyperia that get Brutal Swing. If I remember right, Cinderace might get it as well, but it does too much damage. And plus, Metang kind of wants the Eviolite, but the Eviolite's almost exclusively reserved for P2, in my opinion, so yeah, kind of interesting. Now, the thing is, he has some pretty scary duos, right? P2 Rhyperia can be problematic, but it gets blown up by Urshifu, also gets blown up by Colossal, or, you know, things like Cinderace Lele as a lead is pretty scary, but Urshifu plus Zeraora kind of beats it up. The Rain duo is actually very good against my Colossal, but kind of walled by Pharathon and checked pretty easily by Urshifu and Zeraora. So, like, there's a lot of Pokemon on my team. Even Weezing Regigigas checks Politoed and Arctivish pretty nicely. So there's a lot of Pokemon on this team that really do get checked by mine, and that kind of makes my matchup somewhat favorable, if I'm being honest. But I'll break you through my team and then we'll jump into the game. So, first up on the list is going to be Ice Cream. By the way, all our names are food names this week because we're up against Coke and Papa, so why not? We're running Focus Sash with enough speed on this to outspeed everything on his team barring Scarfers. The Focus Sash guarantees that I live a hit and be able to get off Surf, which, spoiler alert, for my next Pokemon. Knock off Poison Jab, Triple Axle. Poison Jab's largely there for Lele if it's not Scarf. Poison Jab actually does a lot of damage. Triple Axle's kind of nice, it hits into the Rhyperia pretty hard. Knockoff is actually somewhat salvageable for me. If I do detect a Scarf somewhere and I can live a hit, I can get the knockoff off, potentially. Depending on which one is Scarfed. But yeah, definitely a pretty interesting mon on running the Jolly, just because we need that little bit of speed. This guarantees me to outspeed Cinderace, so that's pretty much my goal with this set. Next up, of course, is Burnt Toast, the Colossal, running the policy as expected. Now, I took a bit of a risk with the EV spread on this mon, because there were two options I could have done. The first option would have been to not factor in Scarf, and only outspeed this, or only creep this for Cinderace, which I thought about doing, but I actually think it's worth covering for Scarf options, because I do think Matt desperately needs a Scarf on this team. So I put a lot of speed on this set this week, so it's actually 164 speed, and that means that after the Steam Engine procs, I outspeed Cinderace at +1, which basically covers for any Scarf option. It also covers for Cinderace going for Max Airstream, for example. The only thing that it doesn't really cover for is a Choice Scarf or a Wheeling Morpeko, but Morpeko dies to an Earth Power, so I don't really feel like there's too much for me to worry about. Obviously, this is a pretty solid max target for the team, running Heat Wave, Earth Power, Protect, and Solar Beam. I had Scald on it instead of Protect originally, but I can actually work with Protect quite nicely. Obviously, if I can set up Heat Wave, or if I get a Max Flare off, I can actually just fire off one-turn Solar Beams, which is pretty nice for the Politoed and the Arctivish, for example, so it could be pretty nice. It's also very good against the Rhyperia. something to bear in mind. Earth Power, of course, super good coverage against the team. Hits the Cinderace, hits the Rhyperior, hits the Raikou, hits the Berserker, of course, and hits the Metang and the Morpeko. So Earth Power does so much damage, it's actually terrifying. At +2 with the weakness policy, this thing blows up his whole team. And if he doesn't bring the Rain Duo, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to plow through his whole team. Next up on the team is going to be Black Pudding the Sableye, running the Argwolf Berry. We're actually fully Spadef on this, so this is kind of an interesting situation here for us, because we can run a lot of different sets here, but I actually like this set a lot, because if the Lele is indeed choiced, and it choices itself into, say, Psychic to take on my Urshifu, for example, then I can just switch in this, and then the Lele is forced out. And then I can do quite a lot of nasty things to whatever comes into it, essentially. Lele, of course, is very annoying because of the Psychic Terrain, which does prevent the priority moves, so I do need to watch out with this, because I am running Prankster, of course. We're running Will-O-Wisp, Ally Switch, Icy Wind, and Nightshade. This is kind of an unusual set, but Icy Wind is actually pretty nice for speed control. This does mean that I can contain, like, Morpeko's Aura Wheels, for example. Nightshade is nice because I could run like Poltergeist or something like that, but ultimately I don't actually think it's worth it. Nightshade is decent, consistent damage regardless, and Will-O-Wisp and Ally Switch is kind of like my main choice on this set. Icy Wind is largely just there, just to contain things that might try and get out of control. But yeah, Will-O-Wisp, Ally Switch. Ally Switch is annoying for anyone to have to deal with, so the fact that I can just send attacks into this little guy is kind of nice. I debated on Recover on this set, and I may end up changing Nightshade for Recover. I'm not entirely sure yet. But this is kind of the spread we're going with for now. Running Sassy because I don't really need the speed if I'm running Prankster. Next up on the team is our other bulky mon. Is going to be Muscles the Ferrothorn, running the Leftovers as usual. Again, pretty similar spread, running very, very defensive. We are max HP, max Spadef, but we're actually running a Relaxed Nature. This allows me to just take a little bit of hits from the Rhyperior if it's got a fighting move. Does get a couple of fighting moves. Does also get Mega Horn as well for bug coverage if necessary. Not the best coverage against my team, but it's a possibility. We're running Leash, Sheep Attack, Gyrable, Power Whip, so we're actually running Dual Stab, which is not something I run very often. I'm not a huge fan of Gyrable in general. But Gyrable is actually very nice because with the fact that I'm min speed on this thing, as you can see, I have absolutely no speed whatsoever. The Gyrable actually one-shots Tapu Lele from full unless it maxes, which is kind of fun. Leash, Sheep Attack is the main core. Power Whip is nice for the Rain Duo. Just make sure that the Rain Duo doesn't really want to stay in on this. Ferrothorn kind of walls the Rain Duo pretty nicely. Obviously because the Arctovish would take Iron Barb's damage, plus a Power Whip. And then Politoed can't really hit me because I'm very Spadef. And like Ferrothorn is like the worst wall in the world for Politoed to deal with, so definitely a must bring for this matchup. And even if the Rain Duo doesn't come, it can sit in on Rhyperior. Again, I said without the fighting move, of course. I can loosely take on Rotom as well. It's actually a very good wall to Rotom. I can just Leech Seed Protect and Gyro Ball into it, and it can't really do much. It can somewhat check Morpeko, but it's not the best answer to it, and Metang doesn't really do anything to me. Of course, we're running Relax, as I said. Next up is going to be Bear Chili, the Urshifu, running Choice Scarf. You guys know I love my Scarf Urshifu at this point. We are running Max Attack, Max Speed, and Jolly. This means that I basically speed tie with Morpeko at +1. I outspeed everything else that's not Scarfed. So this is a pretty scary mon for him. This kind of semi-answers the Cinderace. I do need to be careful though, because if the Cinderace maxes, the Surgeon Strikes that's on this doesn't actually kill the Cinderace. He's not going to know that, because he's not going to know if I'm Jolly or Adamant. If I'm Adamant, I would actually kill him, but I couldn't run that risk, because I needed to make sure I can contain Morpeko. We have Surgeon Strikes, Thunder Punches there for the Rain Duo primarily. He, of course, Close Combat hits pretty much everything on this team. And Fire Punches there just as a nice little bit of attack for Rotom. Even though Close Combat does 2-hit KO, it does mean I don't have the drawback of losing my defensive stats. Close Combat one-shots Arctovish even if it's fully defensive. It can potentially OHKO every form of Berserker. Doesn't kill Rhyperior, but Surgeon Strikes does, so that's something to consider. This basically breaks through his team if I can get rid of like Cinderace or Lele. I can't, unfortunately, OHKO Lele with the Surgeon Strikes, but I can, however, OHKO Lele with my Assault Vested, Max Attack, Adamant, Iron Tail, Zera Aura. So this is probably going to be my primary max target outside of Colossal. Because max Steel Spike one-shots Tapu Lele if it's max HP. If it's fully Fizz Death, it has a chance of living, but it's not a particularly high chance. But max Steel Spike, of course, giving me a defense boost, helps me out pretty nicely here. We do, of course, have the Plasma Fists, which hit incredibly hard against the Rain Duo. Close Combat hits Rhyperior, of course, hits the P2 as well. And Fire Punch, again, just a little bit of tech. This just allows me to take the Rotom on as well, which helps us out a little bit. And the thing about us being Assault Vest is even Choice Specs, Tapu Lele cannot 2-hit KO me with Psychic or Psyshock without either a crit or a Spadef drop on Psychic. So definitely very, very scary. I can definitely handle this pretty nicely. The Assault Vest was preferred over Expert Belt. I considered Expert Belt, honestly. I felt like it was a pretty good option. But I wanted the extra bulk. And given the fact that I needed to scarf my Urshifu, and there wasn't really anything else that I felt like really could benefit from Assault Vest on this team. Maybe like Ferrothorn if I wanted offensive moves, but Ferrothorn's better without it. And like I could have run offensive Sableye just for the memes, but I want to win this game. So we're going to do our best to win this game. That is going to be our team. So let's take you all to the battle. Alright guys, we're connected up with the Cooking Papa himself. I'll do the rules because why the heck not? Because it's pretty simple. Alrighty, good luck of course. You can see the 6 I'm bringing up there, and you can see the 6 I think he's bringing. I'm fairly confident on the first 4, but I'm not particularly confident on the last 2. He could bring pretty much anything of the last 2, in my opinion. But we took some aggressive risks. I'm not bringing Regigigas, which is a bit of a hazard. If he brings the Rain Duo, we could be in a bit of trouble with that. But I do have a Ferrothorn, so maybe not. But we shall see. But we are going to connect up. Good luck, have fun. Cooking Papa, let's see what you bought for us. Well, he bought Politoed, but he didn't bring Arctivish. Otherwise, pretty much what I expected. He did bring the Raikou, so I guess he was scared of Regigigas. Makes sense. So, lead-wise for me, I mean, Colossal kind of bodies his whole team, except Politoed. But if I knock out the Politoed in one go, I think we're in a pretty commanding spot. So, I might save Colossal for game 2, though, just to really scare him out. So, one thing I do remember from watching Matt's games in the past is he does have a tendency to lead his Lele. So, game 1, I'm going to lead my Zeraora. Urshifu's a possible lead. It definitely does help against quite a lot of this team. And Politoed actually setting up the rain for me would be very nice as well. So, we could go for that. And then Ferrothorn in the back feels pretty nice. The question is, what do I want else in the back? I guess I could bring Sableye in case of Rhyperior, and also for ally switch shenanigans. Weavar's also a potential option here. No, we'll just bring Sableye. Pretty defensive backline, which could be a problem, but I think we're fine. So he didn't bring Molpico. He brought Raikou instead. Right, let me find a Raikou sprite. Diablo and Striker. So Cinderace, Rhyperior. That's fine for me. I'm kind of okay with this play. I actually should have led Weavile Colossal here. I would have bodied this duo. Interesting. So maybe I should save my Zeraora then, in case he has Lele in the back. The question is, does my Surgeon Strikes one-shot the Rhyperior without maxing? Depends on his spread, but I would imagine it does. So yeah, for safety's sake, I'm gonna switch out my Zeraora. I feel like you'd probably go for the Quake, but I do actually like switching in Sableye here. And then just Surgeon Strikes. The downside is if he has Airstream. But I don't know if you would have Airstream if you lead this duo. So I'm just going to Surgeon Strikes the Rhyperia. He could be Policy, which could be problematic, but hopefully he's not. We go to Black Pudding here. Let's see what he goes for. Because he does commit a max. What does he max here? Rhyperia or Cinderace? If it's Rhyperia, we might have had a problem here. It is the Cinderace, so that is fine for me. I'm fine with this play. The question is, does he have Airstream? We're going to go first because we're Scarfed, so I want to see if I can knock out this Rhyperia. I also haven't done the layout yet. We look like that looks like we killed this, so is he Policy? He is Policy, so that's good information for me to know. Let me find the Raikou sprite. There it is. So the Rhyperia goes down here, which is really good for us. So the question is, what did the Cinderace go for? Mindstorm. Ah, okay. So he has Zen Headbutt. That will probably kill me, right? Yeah. So maybe I should have targeted down the Cinderace there, but I wasn't really anticipating him going for Mindstorm. So that's good prep to know. Did we see Life Orb? He's Life Orb as well. Okay. So I think at this point, I can actually just go back into my Zeraora here. Yeah. I go to Zeraora. I wonder if he brings out Lele. Raikou. Okay. Interesting. So, I definitely ally switch here. For sure. The question is, what do I want to do with my Zeraora here? I definitely want to target down this Cinderace if I can. I do think we commit on max now. Urshifu going down actually was a problem here. Let's see. I think I'd knuckle into the Cinderace. We'll see how this goes. This shouldn't do too much. It'll probably do about 40%. But the attack boost is going to be really helpful. But it's a pretty interesting game so far. He also has Politoed in the back. Forgot about that. We're going to nail the ally switch. Okay, we get the max knuckle off. Because we are always going to be faster. It's going to do... Oh, that did 0. Wow. Okay. I was expecting it to do way more than that. So that's very interesting. Scald. Okay. And G-Max Fireball. How much does this do? Oh, wait. He was, Psychic type. That's why that did nothing. Yeah. Okay, so he does one-shot my Sableye with that. So I definitely should have targeted the, Cinderace. But now he's a Fire type. Which is a little scary. Huh. I kind of want a Lightning into the, Cinderace here. I definitely messed this play up. This definitely wasn't a good game for us. I almost want to see if I can bait him into going into my Ferrothorn here. We're going to protect. So we know he's Scald on that Raikou. And I hit a Lightning off. How much does this do? Doesn't quite pick up the kill. That's unfortunate. That's kind of unfortunate there. I think if that picked up the kill, I think we're actually in a really good spot. Because he does Scald again. He's really trying to get a burn. Here comes the Fireball into my Pharaoh. Yeah, well, we protected, so we live that. Okay, and the Life Orb doesn't quite kill. But that is fine for me. Because Cinderace's Dynamax is over. So he has Zen Headbutt and Pyro Ball for sure. So he never knuckled at all, which actually helps me here. Because he dies to Life Orb Recall, so I don't know if I want to kill it. I think I should, though. Just because I don't actually want it getting an attack off. And then I can Leech Seed into the Raikou. And if it has Aura Sphere, then it has Aura Sphere. We're gonna hit the Knuckle, we'll kill the Cinderace. So now we're +2. Zeraora is kind of in a scary spot here. It depends what he has in the bag. Because now at this point, if his last Pokemon is Lele, it dies to an Iron Tail if I connect. Shadow Ball into Pharaoh. We take that. We do, we ate that. Okay. Leech Seed connects. Beautiful. Alright. So now Pharaoh's in a pretty good position to stall out here. And if his last pick Pokemon is Lele, then we're in a phenomenal spot. And his last Pokemon is Lele, please. Lele, perfect. Okay. So if we connect an Iron Tail here, I think we actually win. I just need to connect the Iron Tail, because we're +2 attack. The Iron Tail should kill. Obviously the question is, are you Scarfed? That's also a potential thing that it could be. But we are going to go for the Iron Tail into the Lele and Protect. I don't think I have any reason to do anything else here. I guess I could have Leech Seeded the Lele just to make sure. But we'll find out if this Lele is Scarfed. It may not be Scarfed. Obviously Protect goes first anyway. It is not Scarfed, and we do connect. This should kill. Dead. Nice! Nice, nice, nice. Okay, this is a phenomenal turn for us. Shadow Ball into the Ferrothorn, that's fine. Shadow Ball my Ferrothorn all day. I eat it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is game 1 for us. I think I just close combat and then Gyro Ball should kill. But yeah, Muscles is very, very strong right now. Yeah. I don't see a reason why I don't just close combat and Power Whip. Because he really does not do anything here. But that was a very, very close game 1. I think if I had just led Weavile Colossal, though, I kind of bodied his whole team. So I'll be interested to see if he tries leading this again. This should kill. Yeah, dead. So GG, Matt. That's a good game 1. Very, very comfortable game 1 for us. Got a little dicey there when the Urshifu died turn 1. Max Mindstorm, Life Orb, Cinderace. So, the good thing to know is this Lele is not Scarfed, which means my Weavile will always go first. That is good information for me to have. So I think what I can actually do here then, we play with the same rules. And I think what I do then, because he's probably going to have to change up, because he cannot lead the same way in my opinion. I think if I'm him this game, I lead Politoed and Raikou. Which could be pretty scary for Weavile Colossal. The question would then be... if he specs Toad, he probably kills my... Colossal, though. That's the only thing I'm worried about. So, he led Cinderace Rhyperior the first time. And it went pretty okay for him. I think this time we do lead Weavile Colossal. I do think keeping Zeraora in the back is kind of a must. And I like Ferrothorn as well, because Ferrothorn can really shut down the P2. So I think we try this time round. I really like Urshifu, though. Urshifu's really, really good against this team. Kind of Zeraora isn't as good, so maybe I don't bring Zeraora this game. But then if he brings Lele, I could be in trouble. It's either one of the two, because I think the first three will definitely do this game. Pharaoh definitely shuts down the Raikou, which is very important for us. We'll try this set, and we'll see what happens. Because he's probably going to try and counter the lead I did last time. So by doing a completely different lead, then I don't think he has much to do. So let's see what he goes for this time. He goes for the same lead, actually. Okay. This is very good for me, because now I can just blow back his... I pick my kill here, basically. So, we know last time we did this, he maxed the Cinderace. So I think by surfing here and then maxing, the question is, what do I want to do? I mean, I think I Quake either way, it's just which one do I go for? Well, Cinderace can't really kill my Colossal, I don't think, so I'm actually going to go after the Rhyperior here. As he does max, I'm assuming this is his Cinderace again. If this is Rhyperior, that's actually a very good play. But we know he's Policy Rhyperior. Yeah, it's the Cinderace again. I'm not surprised to see that. Not surprised to see that at all. The thing is, I don't think a Max Knuckle would kill my Colossal, even after the Surf damage. Well, actually, he's Stab Life Orb, so yeah, he probably does, actually. I might have misplayed there. I might have misplayed. We'll see. I do have a Shifu in the back anyway, so I don't think this matters. Because I think even after the Surf damage, I probably do enough with Surgeon Strikes. Especially after the Life Orb recoil. Yeah, I definitely think I do enough there. Okay, well, Burnt Toast is getting absolutely jacked up, which is nice. Alright, so we set off the Rhyperior policy, but Rhyperior's not going to get a chance here because we're just going to Quake into it. Of course, there is the thing of that he may not even have Max Knuckle. But it's not sure, so that's definitely not Solid Rock, because he probably would have lived that if he was Solid Rock. So, yeah, that's a good turn for us. And we still have our Sash intact with Weavile as well. He does Knuckle. What'd you go into, my Colossal or the Weavile? He went for Weavile, which is perfect for us. That's huge. Okay. Because we're Sashed, we live that hit regardless, and we are faster than his entire team. So, if he has a Scarfer, now's the time to bring it out. But I don't think he has, unless his Politoed is Scarfed, because we know his Lele's not. We know the Raikou's not. So, yeah. Prism is the He-2. That's annoying. Because he could Ally Switch here. They actually traced my Steam Engine, which is kind of funny. I knock off either way, I think. I'm pretty sure the Porygon gets Ally Switch. I feel like I've seen that. Porygon, it does get Ally Switch, yeah. So I definitely need to prepare for that. I actually think I double into the P2 slot. Because even if he Ally Switches, I think we're fine. So that's what I'm actually going to go for. This is not the correct play, in my opinion. Oh, he didn't Ally Switch. That's a phenomenal play. That's a phenomenal play. I did not expect him to not Ally Switch there. If he Airstreams, then I could be in problematic range, but we are actually going to knock off the P2, which is really good for us. That did a lot of damage. Damn. Okay, so he is going to Knuckle. Probably into my Colossal this time. Yeah, and we live it. I'm actually impressed we live that, because we don't have that much bulk on this Colossal. So, that's interesting. But now he's in Surgeon Strikes range, so I'm okay with this. Try attack, probably Weavile, right? Yeah, okay. Well, Weavile kinda did its job there. So, obviously reading into the Ally Switch was unfortunate. So I can go into my Ferrothorn here. He does still have one Pokemon left. I'm kind of concerned it's Lele. So I might actually keep Ferrothorn back for a second. So Surging Strike should be fine. He is a fighting type on that Cinderace right now. So I think what I do is I actually could double out here. No, I think I actually double into the Cinderace regardless. Because I think that's definitely my best play. Because I feel like he definitely Mindstorms here. But this is going to do a chunk, because he's not a fire type now. Yeah, that did huge damage, and I think the Surging Strikes will actually pick up the kill here. Even though I actually just set up the Sun, I think this kills. Oh, I'm not sure now, actually. Oh, it's close. It's close. I may have misplayed. Ah, he dies to Life Orb, though. I'm fine. I'm kind of fine with that. As he does Knuckle again. Probably kills my Colossal this time. Yeah. That's actually fine for me that he killed my Colossal there. Cinderace definitely put in work. So he has P2 and something else. What's his last mon? Like, Politoed? Yeah, he dies to Life Orb, which is fine. So he did all that setup and actually didn't get to do much value here. I guess if he has Lele in the back, this is actually fine. Psychic. Okay, how much does it do? Does this kill me? No. Okay. And now we just go into our Ferrothorn. I think this is fine. And it's Raikou. Oh, I think we win. I think we just won. So, the Porygon has no Eviolite. I'm faster. I mean, I'm forced to click Surging Strikes either way. But I feel like my Ferrothorn could 1v1 this Raikou unless it has Aura Sphere. So we're gonna kill the Prism. If he has Aura Sphere, now would be the time to show it, but I'm gonna click Leech Seed. Setting up the Sun was probably not my best play there. I probably should have Overgrowthed. But this should still kill. Oh yeah, that kills. Yeah. Steam Engine's not gonna matter. It's kind of funny that he traced that from before. But yeah, it's a dead Prism. Okay, what does the Raikou go for? Volt Switch, interestingly. Okay. The fact that he didn't target my Ferrothorn there is really good. So we've seen Volt Switch, Shadow Ball, Scald. I don't think you can beat my Ferrothorn 1v1. I don't think you win this matchup. I'm fully Spadaf. Yeah, I don't think you win this matchup, so I think we just win. I'm gonna protect this turn. No reason not to. So if you have Aura Sphere, you have to show it now. Shadow Ball. He doesn't have Aura Sphere. He does not have Aura Sphere. I think this is over. I think I win the Stall War. I can Power Whip this turn. Shadow Ball is going to do very little. He's going for Spadaf drops. That's what he's going for here. Yeah, it doesn't touch me. He does get one. That's kind of unfortunate. And we miss a Power Whip. That's definitely annoying, but we have leftovers plus Leech Seed. So even with the Spadaf drop, I still don't think you win this 1v1. If I land a Power Whip, I think this game's over. So that's essentially what we're going for now. So I Protect. No reason to not go for Protect here. But yeah, we kind of stalled out here, but Muscles is so good against special attackers because, like, it only has two weaknesses, which is Fire and Fighting. Obviously, the Fire is a quad weakness, so long as this is not in against Cinderace, this was such a favorable matchup for me. Raiko does get Aura Sphere this gen, so I'm surprised he didn't have it. So Matt, if you're watching this video, maybe you want to look for that in future. But this was a very fun series either way. Pretty unfortunate it came down to a defensive matchup. But yeah, that's just how this game goes, right? You know, I had very good weapons against his team. You can see even with the Spadef drop, it's not doing a lot. We connect this time. This definitely hurts. Yeah. GG's, Matt. What a game, dude. That was definitely a fun series. Obviously, I know he's going to be very frustrated in this series. But, mate, for your first competitive season, to make the quarterfinals against some very, very high caliber opposition, fair play to you, dude. I hope I see you back next season. Definitely a phenomenal series. I think you'll improve a lot. And I'm definitely looking forward to playing you again in the future. But with that all being said, guys, we are going to be moving on to the semi-finals where we are going to play against Raikustic. So look forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun match. Raiku's a very good friend of mine, so really excited. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Robombi Teacher. I'm your coach of the Royal Bournemouth Robombis. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.